So today we're gonna be talking about Bulls moves that I feel like could work out in their favor for this upcoming off season through both drafting, a big trade, free agency, and then to see how that lineup looks and then the money per year. So currently the Bulls have 9 players on contract. 8 of them will be returning next year. One of them will be traded. So you got Josh Giddey, who is the starting point guard. He's making $25 million next 3 years. Really good contract, cheap, but makes an impact so that we can get over the salary floor. Starting shooting guard will come for the trade. Our starting small forward will be Maz Vaselis, who's currently on his rookie contract. He's going to be making more than this in 2 years. Our starting power forward would be for the draft. Our starting center would be for the trade. Backup point guard be Rob Dillingham, same boat as Modest, still on rookie contract. But when his thing is up in 2 years, he won't be making near this much as Modest. So backup shooting guard be Trey Jones. Backup small forward will be Isaac Coro. Backup power forward will be Leonard Miller. I know it says he's small forward, but he's 6'10", and then he's a kind of positionalist. And I really like Leonard Miller's game. I think we should pick him up. Granted, it was March basketball, so how well does it translate? Who knows? But I like it. And then Noah Senge's backup center, again, kind of positionless. Every report is saying he's grown, so maybe he can become a center, or maybe the guy we draft becomes center and he becomes power forward of the future. We'll have to see. I'm very high on Noah Senge. There's a lot of negative rap around him for many reasons, but we haven't really seen how he's played, and thus I feel like it's unwise to judge him for something we haven't seen yet, obviously. So I really feel like he could turn in something. He is very young, he's 19, one of the young guys in the draft, so yeah. And then last but not least, you got Patrick Williams, which is a really, really bad contract that we're just going to absorb. And the current GM has made it open that it's willing to absorb bad contracts. No one wants this. This is 3 years of $18 million each year. Patrick Williams is awful. And Jalen Smith is getting traded. So that leads us to the draft. With the fourth pick, we take Cale Wilson. I feel like he most likely will be there as like the best player available. I think the Jazz and the Wizards, I think, are pretty solidified in their pick. Wizards being a team that already has their guards and their big man guards being Kaishawn George, Trey Johnson, Trey Young, Bob Carrington. Their bigs as Alex Sarr, Will Riley, Anthony Davis, Vukovic. I feel like a small forward in the Bonza will fit in perfectly in that lineup. And the Jazz are a very interesting team. They have a lot of guys. They're really built well right now. As a Mammoth fan, I really adore Ryan Smith. He is a great honor, and it seems like he's doing great with the Jazz. Um, Jazz are a team that can have 6 starters, but only 5 starting spots. I think Ace Bailey's gonna be the guy that moves down to the bench, and you're gonna have Keontae George, Darren Peterson, Lowry Markkinen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Walker Kessler as your starters. Then Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh, Ace Bailey, Kyle Filipowski, Nurkic, and like John Conchar and Cody Williams are still there. Amongst others. They are a really, really well built team. And then the Grizzlies, they really go in two paths. They take best player available and just keep on building for the draft, which they've slowly been doing. I was taking Jalen Wells and Saki 2 years ago. Teach Coward this year. Scottie Pippen Jr. is still a young player. Walt Clayton Jr. is still a young player. So there you go, best player available, which is the National Player of the Year, and Cameron Boozer. Or they decide to replace Ja and take A-Cuff. Another scenario, I feel like the Bulls take Wilson at 4. Honestly, I know a lot of Bulls fans would want Cameron Boozer if he's available at forward, mainly because legacy, national player of the year, this and that. I like Joe Wilson a little bit better. I liked how he played, his flash, his defense, all of that. I know there's concerns with his 3-point shooting. Miles was a terrible 3-point shooter coming to the team, and he's improved. Anyone can improve their 3-point shot. They really want to. And then at 15, a lot of reports are saying big man, and I kind of agree with that. If we weren't trading for a starting center in this trade, um, obviously there's three main guys: Hans Steinbeck, Adam Mara, and Yaxel Lindenberg. I do believe that those three guys might also just not even be there by pick 15, whether it's the Hawks, Warriors, or Thunder picking them up, because they're all in need of a kind of big man. And then there's Jaden Quintons, who's also available. I don't really like him. He's 6'9", has the ACL injury a couple years ago, and I think it's just way too risky. Um, and he would be more of a power forward anyways at 6'9". So I think Kareem Lopez would be a good fit. Need another like backup small forward that could potentially get worked in starting lineup. We'll see how it all works out. He might truly just be our Manu Ginobili. He's just always off the bench, but always playing good minutes. I do feel like he could drop. I do see like mixed reports on him. Some saying he's going like 10, 9. Some saying he's going like 17, 18. So if he drops, I wouldn't mind it. I also like the kid from Texas, that guard from Texas. There's other players. I think they don't get Cream. You try and get some shooting guard that's available. Because shooting guards definitely are weakest position, I would say. And then pick 30 and 56 get traded. So now to this big trade between two teams that need to shed money and two teams that need to pick up money. Or can pick up money. That being the Bulls, the Magic, the Thunder, and the Nets. So the Magic are currently at 220 million. The second apron is at 207 million, so they need to shed 13 million. And the Thunder are 250, so they need to shed 43 million. Nets and Bulls are have really good cap space right now, so they can pick up money if they need it. So the Bulls are essentially going after their starting center and starting shooting guard, and they pick up a bad contract in Jalen Suggs, making a lot of money, and it's a long contract. And Isaiah Hartenstein is just a quality center that the under kind of shed. We'll get to it as we move down this line. In return, they give up their 2028 second to the Magic, their pick 38 and 56 in this year's draft, and then a 2031st lottery protected, and that doesn't. That's like in the lottery, it just can face an unprotected 2031 first. That goes to Thunder, and Jalen Smith goes to the Nets. It's just a contract. So the Magic, like I said, they need to shed Jalen Suggs' contract. He is a really good player, but they just don't have the money. They're in a terrible financial situation between the Desmond Bain, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero contracts. And it seems like Jalen Suggs is the odd man out, kind of Wendell Carter Jr. as well. So in this scenario, they trade Jalen Suggs and then Jett Howard, who is just a guy they've not really believed in, former lottery pick. It's not really been working out for them. In return, they get Isaiah Joe, a much smaller contract, and a much shorter contract. They get 2030 first, and it'll kind of help with all the picks they lost in the Desmond Bain trade, and 2028 second. And they obviously shed $28.5 million. Gets them under 200 million. They're still in the first segment, I'm pretty sure. There might be luxury tax, but there will be about 192. And then the Thunder, it is heartbreaking for them to do this, but they are in a situation where they are in financial hell, and they have a lot of young guys that has kind of shown that they can be impactful players, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Thunder's like blow up that will happen probably this offseason will be primarily featured around a lot of their 1 year guys. See, Isaiah Hartenstein has a 1 year team option. Dude, Lou Dort 1 year team option. Kent Williams 1 year team option. Isaiah Joe's a 1+1. And then I think Alex Caruso will probably also be traded. He has a lot longer and bigger contract. But I think they don't really trade for all too much players. It clearly has shown that they do best when they are playing through the draft. A lot of their guys currently on the team have come through the draft. And I do see the Thunder starting five next year being Shea, Casey Wallace, J Dub, Yaxel, and Chet. Ultimately, still will have, assuming Alex Caruso also gets traded. You still have AJ Mitchell, Jared McCain, Aaron Wiggins, the other Jalen Williams, amongst others. Um, you still have pick number 17. There are a lot of guys on the Thunder currently, and unfortunately, it'll be sad to see some of these guys go, especially Lou Dort, who is the longest tenured player. But in this scenario, they kind of have to give up these big, a little bit older players. In return, they do get Jett Howard, who is younger. They only have 1 year on him, so they want to keep it. They can sign him to a smaller contract. Because it's not showing his $7 million worth that he is currently. And then I already mentioned the Bulls picks. You also get 2029 first, that's the Knicks first, and 2029 first, that's least favorable between four teams, these both being from the Nets. And then the Nets just take up money. They get Lou Dort, Kent Williams, and Jalen Smith. A little bit of veteran leadership, a little bit just bodies in the door. All 1 year guys. They can just wipe their hands. I'm interested to see what Lou Dort's future is in the league. There's obviously a lot of negative press around him, mainly his behavior. He's a really good defensive player, really good shooter. And so maybe the Nets keep him and they just rework his contract. He's not making $18 million. So there's a lot of guys that are on 1 year contracts, mainly team options that are getting moved around. So it's not like major dominoes get moved. Most of these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they left in free agency. So you're kind of just getting something out of them. And then free agency is pretty light. You accept Hartenstein's team option, Dillaham's team option, Vassell's team option, and Leonard Miller's team option. You sign Bones Highland to a 3x12 quality backup guard that just adds depth, making $4 million a year. It's an easy salary filler, you're throwing the contract to make up the money. Yuki's in the same boat, just depth and point guard, $4 million a year for 3 years. He's also a fan favorite. Everyone loves Yuki. And then Lachlan Olbrich, I really liked how he played in the G and the few games he played in the NBA this season. This is kind of a prove it deal, a 1 year, $3 million. If he doesn't do so hot, we can wipe our hands and say, alright, waste a second round pick. Good luck with your team. Maybe we keep him 2 more years afterwards. We'll see. I like Lachlan, like I said. And then an extension for Isaiah Hartenstein and Leonard Miller. Isaiah Hartenstein get 2 years, $46 million. Leonard Miller get 4 years, $20 million. Isaiah Hartenstein's only getting a short contract, and so you'll see in the money per year. And then Leonard Miller's getting another a small contract and cap, just filler. So lineup will consist of Giddey, Suggs, Bucelis, Cale Wilson, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Rob Dillingham, Trey Jones, Isaac Okoro, Leonard Millard, and Noah Senge, with serves being Bones Highland, Yuki, Kareem Lopez, Patrick Williams, and Lachlan Olbrich. The reason why I said shooting guard could also be is because I don't think Jones is part of our future. You can just have a shooting guard that eventually take this spot. But I also don't think Okoro will be part of the future. So I think Lopez will definitely take this spot eventually. But it's a really well built team. I don't think it's gonna be a team that wins all too much. I know it's kind of heartbreaking to hear. It just might be a play-in team, but it truly might be like I don't know what more you can say to. Like it's had to make a team not be a play-in team, but this roster, gives me happiness, and it's had to have happiness rooting for the Bulls when you live in New England, because all you see is Celtics success, and then you gotta go back home to watch your Cristiano Felicio. But a team that has solid defense, built really built on potential and young guys. Old guys today in Hardenstein, he's like 28, 29. Um, but yeah, I got a lot of young guys that could just do something. Like maybe we see a world where Rob Dunham is better than Josh Giddey and we move on from the Josh Giddey contract. Maybe down the line we trade or draft a new shooting guard, and maybe down the line Noah Senge is really good or Lachlan Olber's really good, and we just have like a team kind of really built through the draft. It's interesting to see, but this is a really, really good lineup. And then money per year. So this is breakdown. So yeah, so the Magic will get out of the first apron or be in this bracket. Lux Shack's first apron. Bulls primarily be between salary cap and luxury tax. $170 million next year. Room to take on more contracts. Isaiah Hardenstein, 2 year extension. It's because Noah Sengale says 3 years total. So when Isaiah Hardenstein is done with his contract, Noah Sengale will be done with his. So it's kind of like, what do we do now? You're always gonna have this reliable center whilst having Noah Sengale being default. And then Kel Wilson and Kareem Lopez contracts are kind of like just looked at Concanoople and Thomas Sorber and kind of just threw some things out there. Maybe that makes sense. Miles Vassell's Rob Dillingham will be up for new contract same time, but we have 130 million, close to 131 million. So we have a lot of money for that. I think they let Isaac Coro go and they draft a new like shooting guard maybe. And then maybe they let Trey Jones go and draft a new center. But I don't think either one of these guys are part of the future. Um, and then Patrick Williams is then taking up his $18 million player option. You'll be a fool to not take $18 million for free, which sucks. You guys who don't want that. But as soon as this contract is done, he's gone. And then yeah, decent amount of money for Diaz. Ozzy Jones sucks. It's a bad contract. He's gonna be our most paid player until Modest gets his new contract. But he's gonna provide veteran leadership and good defensive play. Yeah, so that's my plan if I was the Bulls general manager. Let me know if you want to see me make more videos centered around the other draft lottery teams. Like I mentioned, the Wizards and Jazz have an interesting situation for all their pieces. So I wouldn't mind messing around their roster.